Hello everyone, I'm just back from a walk with the dogs, and I must tell you, every time I approach my garden, my home, I get a feeling of joy in my heart because it looks so vibrant and alive and burgeoning with life. And it used to look like this, and that's because back then, well, that's 20 years ago, that photograph, but back then I didn't have a clue about anything. I wanted a garden like this, but I didn't know where to start, how to do it, what to do. I hadn't any notion of ever knowing how to do it. But over time, I've ended up with this. So anybody can do it, I promise you. And I thought I'd invite you into the garden, come and have a look and see what each area used to look like and what it looks like today. And we are just amateurs. Come on, dogs. Originally we were growing veg. We had vegetable beds at the back of the house, but it was very utilitarian and I wanted more. I wanted magical secret places. I wanted diversity, and I didn't know one tree from another, had no knowledge of planting and growing and planning, and the land itself was difficult. But we were fortunate to visit Colette at Cottage, and when we were astounded by her garden, she said to us, "You can do this. You can have a garden like this." And the best advice she gave us was to plant something and just keep going. And so that's what we did. We just kept planting and just planting where we could because the land was so rocky, and we just kept going. And now we have a lovely garden that we really, really love. So it's been done quite cheaply as well because we can propagate things and we use seeds. And willow you can just cut and stick back in the ground and you've got a new plant. And some things self-seed, and that's very welcome because beautiful plants arrive that haven't cost a penny. And any other wild plants that arrive, I'm very happy to welcome them in. They're very welcome to come and live with us. I don't regard things as weeds, and I just let everything thrive and grow. So we've made this film for ourselves because when you're in the middle of doing something, you can't see your progress and you can't judge how much you've achieved. But looking back at old photographs, we were very surprised to look back and see what this place was like. And comparing it is really, it's just lovely to see. But we thought also that it would be very inspiring for other people. If you're feeling it's too much of a challenge, if you're feeling daunted, if you're feeling that you just won't be able to do it, I can tell you that you can. So I hope people do feel inspired by this and give it a try. So this is the front hedgerow, and I started off planting a few hawthorns that you just stuck into the ground and they grew. So then we had a windbreak and I put in these trees. I've got my Scots pine here. I've got an ash tree, I've got birch, I've got elder, I've got hazel. I can't actually get to the elder. I can see a couple of florets there, but there's 4 elders and I can only see that tiny little narrow section. So all along here was the original hawthorn hedge, and these trees have grown. And this is the little birch that Colette had recommended go into intensive care. So we gave it some sheep's wool mulch, bit of human manure over the years, and look at it. It's almost a forest in itself. At the end of the hawthorn hedgerow is an alder, and that's pretty tall now. It's good 20 foot or more, and it's put suckers up and it's spreading. And I put 3 little oak trees in, and look at the size of them already after 3 years, and the girth of them too. And they were miles apart when they went in, but now they're all touching each other, which is just does my heart good to see. And keeping moving this way, we get to the end of the hedgerow and we've got willow coming around a little pond which we can't see anymore because it's completely overgrown. Wow. Here I am back again from the wilderness. So looking back, everywhere was so uninviting. It looked so miserable, so unloved, bare and sad. And I'm delighted to say now that I think the land does know that it's loved and that all the plants have helped that. We started off with little whips, young trees that only cost €1 or €2, and bare root hedging. And we put stuff all around the perimeter as far as we could. And it was very cheap. Fuchsia, for example, you just take a cutting and stick it in the ground like the willow. And all the trees cost maybe €1.50 or €2, €3 at the most. So it's been very cheap. This area we used to call the lake because it would flood every year. And all these rocks that you see in the wall were taken from the land. When it was flooding, we couldn't grow anything. Any veg beds we would have had would have been ruined. And the rushes kept coming back, so I had to keep cutting them down and mulching them so that they were smothered until eventually they were gone. We put in raised beds and Lol cut a drain. So this area doesn't get very bad now. It does get a bit soggy in the winter, but we can grow our vegetables. And again, the land, which as you could see earlier was so barren, is now full of life, full of vitality, and we're growing our food. Here's another oak. It's 2 years this summer. But this used to be a pathway to the far corner. The hedgerow goes that way. And we can't get through anymore because the trees they've just grown so profusely. And these young ones here, this birch and this oak, they're really just taking off as well. And they're just stuck in where we could get them in. Over the years, we've changed some things around, but basically, because it's difficult to get things into the ground in certain places, it means that the garden has developed organically insofar as we have lots of separate little spaces and secret areas and areas that draw the eyes along and give you a feeling of depth and a different perception. Some things didn't work and some things have been amazing. This stone hedge was put in because we wanted to put a windbreak in to protect trees that we'd planted below and also to disguise the septic tank. So you can see how successful this has been. This growth here has been phenomenal. So down here, we decided to put in a few little trees. This is why we built that stone hedge. And this has turned into a very beautiful area, a woodland, a little secret glade of a woodland. Oh, this area was such a barren area. Actually, oh my God, I can't even get in. Through here, somewhere in there, if you can we can't get through, but somewhere in there is the old septic tank. Oh yeah, I can just see it there. But the growth is amazing. And this is a little woodland down here. So I'd just love to show you this hawthorn tree. This was one of the trees that were here when I first came. And it was just a little tree, but to me it was the mother tree of the garden because it was the only tree that was here. And just over the last couple of years, look at the profusion of beautiful blossom. And it has it's just kind of spreading over the wall and getting taller and taller. So I think this tree is very happy that we are here and that we're planting lots of companions for it. So companions such as willow, some various types. We've got alder, we've got birch down here. We've got several birches. They're getting very tall. If I can get through it all. There's hawthorn up here. It's a beautiful green glade. I think as the land has improved and come back from being barren and dead and sad and all of those things, I think it's affected us as well. I think we've become much more interrelated with the environment and with the spirit of nature. So this garden is giving back as well as getting all our attention. So over the years of growing this garden, we've grown as well because we've kind of woken up and we've realised that nature isn't something out there. It's not just a green, murky mixture of stuff. It's individual plants, individual personalities, friends, allies, and we've really grown to understand, I think, that we're all interrelated, we're all interconnected, we're all entangled, we're all part of nature. So this is my herb garden. I'm delighted with it. It's flourishing. We've got a lot of plants self-seeded, a lot of plants just growing where they weren't placed, such as the St. John's wort. But I'd like to also show you our little woodland project. So come with me and I'll show you what's been happening there. We both love trees and we wanted more of them, and we wanted more magical, wonderful trees, the standing ones, and we wanted more diversity. And then my brother very kindly allowed me to take a little parcel of land and we could plant more trees. And so that's what we did. So this was previously, a long time ago, a hay meadow, but it had kind of fallen into disrepair. You know, it had become barren almost, and the trees have gone in and grown really well and transformed this area and created a new microclimate and a pocket of biodiversity. So we've been planting these trees for the last 4 to 5 years, I think, and there's a variety, mainly alder because it was so wet here, but we've got birches, a couple of beeches and some oaks as well. So it's a nice mixed woodland, and it's great to the diversity of the wood and the amount of different insects that are appearing. We've got lots of butterflies, lots of moths, and we can hear the bird song all the time. So it's just lovely to know that all these other creatures have got a home and a food supply as well. And you know, you just feel like such a mummy when you get little trees like this that you can look after. I've even got a lime there. Greenhouse. That's where we start all the seedlings. And thank goodness it's been extended. We can do a lot more. And of course, apart from the trees that are beautiful in themselves, it's lovely to have flowers for the colour and to attract the pollinators. Come on, dogs. It's one of the best things about having a garden, after all the doing of it, is to just be in it. And it's something we all have to remind ourselves, is to just be. And I think it's a really profound thing to sow a seed or plant a plant and watch it grow. And all this has happened really despite ourselves, because, as I said at the beginning, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just very lucky, and we got some good advice as well. So I think I'll just take my own advice and I'll sit here and just be while I enjoy a cuppa. And I hope you have a great weekend, and see you next week. Bye. I hope you enjoyed today's film. If you did, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And have a look at the website danusirishherbgarden.com for more information about us and about the herbal medicine courses I offer and the Wise Woman Way training. And if you go to the shop, you can find the books, the weed handbooks and other herbal goodies. And remember, we put a new film out every Sunday. So looking forward to seeing you next week.